To get an overview of the situation, I'm joined now by Andrew Neil, who anchored the BBC's coverage of the last presidential race, and he joins me now. Andrew, I don't know if you had a chance to hear Steve Bannon. Not surprising what he was saying, but it just shows the energy and the determination behind the Trump campaign.
Yeah, I guess it will give British listeners a flavour of the kind of stuff that's happening here in the United States, which is pretty depressing. And, you know, if you were to mark his homework, you would spend the rest of the night correcting most of what he had to say there. But that's what he says, and it's blurted out, and it has all the language of, you know, the neo-globalists and all the rest of it. And that's the way American discourse has come these days. I mean, he's on the extreme end of the MAGA movement, but he's in some ways quite typical of it too.
Yes, and influential. Let me ask you about how you read the situation post-Iowa, because obviously New Hampshire is going to matter hugely now. If Nikki Haley can't break through in New Hampshire, that's probably, question mark, the end of her campaign, do you think, or close to it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's almost ended already. Iowa was quite determinative. It's not usual that Iowa has this effect on the rest of a primary or caucus system, but Trump's victory was so overwhelming. I mean, he won on every front. He won among evangelicals, among independent voters, among suburban moderates, rural, town, everyone. He won. He won 98 out of the 99 counties. The only county he didn't win was Johnson County, which is where University of Iowa is based. And it looks like Nikki Haley won that by one vote. So I suspect Mr. Trump will be asking for a recount on that as well. And, you know, he won not just in the sense that he got 51% of the vote. He won because Ron DeSantis came second, only just, but ahead of Nikki Haley, which means that DeSantis goes in as number two. Nikki Haley doesn't have the momentum into New Hampshire, and DeSantis is nowhere in New Hampshire or South Carolina. So it is hugely helpful to Trump. And unless Nikki Haley wins or becomes a very close second in New Hampshire, it's over, because it goes to South Carolina after that. It's her home state, and she's way behind Donald Trump.
That's really interesting, and an almost perfect result for Trump in Iowa. Can I ask you about the other side of the House, as it were? Because you'd expect to have lots of kind of bleats of distress coming from the Democrats at this point, but actually the Biden campaign seems to be delighted that Trump is likely to be the candidate they're going to fight. That may be a mistake.
I wouldn't believe that for a second. They may be saying that, but it's not the reality. They're increasingly worried about Donald Trump. I've underestimated him in the past as well. You know, just before the Iowa caucuses took place on Tuesday, an ABC News poll came out showing that Joe Biden's disapproval rating was now at 58%, and his approval rating was 33%. It is very, very difficult now for the Democrats. Most Democrats don't want Joe Biden to run. Indeed, most Americans do not want a repeat of Biden-Trump. But it looks that's what they're going to be lumbered with.
You sound, Andrew, neither of us work for our old employer. We can say what we think. You sound depressed about the condition of American politics at the moment, and perhaps about certain selfishness in the president being determined to run again?
Well, I think some wiser columnists than me have advised, Democratic columnists have advised Mr. Biden that now was the time to step down. He beat Donald Trump in 2020. He's presided over a pretty decent economy. He's been strong on Ukraine. He was meant to be the bridge to a new generation of American politicians, but instead he won't let go, encouraged by his wife not to let go as well. And that, of course, has encouraged Trump to run as well. So instead of America now renewing itself on the left and the right, we're going to have this geriatric contest in which it's impossible to renew the country with the choices between Mr. Biden or Mr. Trump. And, you know, the great strength of the United States has always been its ability to renew itself. And with these two heading up the tickets, it will not renew itself in this election. At a time when the world is very dangerous, Andrew, and American leadership, I know it's fashionable to despise it or do it down or diss it. But in fact, the world needs America. The democratic world needs American leadership at the moment. This is not a happy prospect, which is why I'm quite depressed.
Yeah. Wise thoughts. I'm delighted you could join me, Andrew. Thank you very much indeed for that.